I found this US model 1892 Krag bayonet for very cheap on eBay. As you can see, it has a lot of issues. It looks like it was broken off at some point. And overall it's very rusty, though surprisingly the press stud isn't seized. The blade is missing its tip, and not shown here, but it has a slight bend to it. Here's a comparison to a Krag bayonet in nice condition. Most noticeable is the muzzle ring and the shape of the blade tip. All of the Krag bayonets were originally in the white, except for the earliest production, but neither of those are that. They're both dated 1898. So let's go ahead and get this one back into functional condition. The grips are riveted on. I try not to remove them for most bayonet restorations I've done, but with the condition of this one, I have to take them off. Here I'm center punching the rivets, and then I'll drill them out. I was expecting the grips to come off easily, but it looks like they're stuck on. I'll have to carefully pry them off. I'll continue to strip it down by removing the press stud. I'll separate the washers from the remains of the rivets. With the blade bare now, there's a look at the bend in it, about 3 inches from the tip. I'll attempt to bend it by hand. This looks bad, but the blade is very tough and it mostly springs right back. It makes you wonder what it took to bend it permanently in the first place. But this is looking pretty good now. The blade also had an edge put on it. Most bayonets actually have blunt edges, so I'll file off the sharp edge. Then I'll reshape the tip so it's not obvious that it had been previously broken off. It's not a perfect match, and it's a little shorter, but it looks better than before. Now I'll work on repairing the muzzle ring. I'll get the dimensions from the complete bayonet. A 1/2 inch pipe is almost a perfect match. I'll turn it to size. The muzzle ring has a rounded surface. I'll chamfer either side. Then I can round it off with the file. I'll face the cut end. I created this setup in the vise to ensure that this scrap aluminum bar is parallel to the bayonet handles. With what remains of the muzzle ring resting on the bar, I can slide on the ring and mark where to cut on either side. It'll end up looking like this. Redoing the setup, I'll see how they fit together. I want a bit tighter of a fit. But before I file the muzzle ring, I'll first file the bayonet itself, since I'll need a clean surface to weld. Then I can file the muzzle ring, adding a chamfer on either side. I'm happy with the fit. Now I can proceed to weld. I'll carefully grind down most of the excess. There's the result. There's no gaps, and the aluminum backer rod did a good job of keeping the inside of the ring clean. Now I can shape the outside by hand with files. The smooth steel of the ring doesn't match the rust in the pitting of the rest of the bayonet. Here I'm adding salt to hydrogen peroxide. This will jumpstart corrosion. Now, there are much better formulas and methods to rust blue steel for gun parts, but that's not what I'm after. I'm after a poor surface finish. Pitting is desirable, so I'm giving this a shot, and I'll see if I can get it to match the rest of the bayonet. 12 days and a few applications later, this is the result. A pretty close match, I think. Now, to convert the rust, I'll place my steam tube over a pot of boiling water. Foil on top will trap in the steam. After boiling for about 45 minutes, I'll cart off the loose rust. I'll let the bare metal soak in a heavy coat of oil. The grips I'll clean with mineral spirits, but the white paint doesn't seem to be coming off. I'll have to lightly sand them. And then I'll clean them again. I found suitable rivets in my parts bin. I'll just reshape the head smaller. I'll reassemble everything together. riveting is very difficult to get right. I made this setup in the vise to support the head of the rivet, which has a matching die. I'll start this end with a ball peen. I'll attempt to finish the peening by squeezing the rivet with a die on either end. I'll add back on the catch. And then I'll give the wood grips a light coat of linseed oil. Here's the completed bayonet. The conversion process, in this instance, didn't do too much to improve appearances. The corrosion was too far gone, but at least it will put a halt to any further decay. As far as the grips go, there's definitely a good side and a not so good side. I thought that the thickness of the rivet shank in relation to the head would prevent them from bending, but I guess I was wrong. So it's a little ugly, but overall, the bayonet is in better condition than before. And most importantly, it's functional and can fit on a rifle. Maybe I'll have another go at the grips in the future, but for now, function over form. Thanks for watching.